on the scene, on the story with breaking news. News on 6 starts now.
And we begin with breaking news tonight out of Wagner County, where an explosion at a natural gas well has injured 4 people.
3 of the 4 are in critical condition. The 4th has burns from his elbows to his fingertips, we're told. This happened near 220 Road, about a mile north of Highway 51. The county's emergency manager tells us these were contractors hired to work on a private gas line. While they were working this afternoon, that line exploded. We're told this is a natural gas well, and authorities say it will burn for a few more hours. We do have a crew headed to the scene, and we will have a live report from them in just a few minutes.
And we have more breaking news in Tulsa, in what Tulsa police are calling a brazen and reckless shooting.
This happened in Lacy Park tonight on North Madison Place while families were inside the recreation center there for an event. News on 6 pushed out this breaking news alert just before 8 o'clock. That's when News on 6 reporter Katira Winfrey got on the scene, and she's on the story now live from police headquarters tonight. Katira.
Hey, Scott and Terry, I just found out just moments ago from police that they are questioning 2 suspects. A 3rd suspect ended up at another hospital with injuries, but they say this whole shooting started from a drug deal gone wrong. And police cleared out the scene over at Lacy Park about an hour ago, but when they got there, they found 2 people shot in the leg in a brown SUV. Now, those 2 people inside of that SUV were taken to the hospital by ambulance, and police say that a group of about 3 people were sitting in an SUV when 2 people walked up. Those people walking opened the door and told the people inside to hand over their stuff. One person fought back, and that's when someone started shooting. The suspects ended up running away, leaving the victims inside the SUV bleeding.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's mind-blowing to most of us that somebody would so not just brazenly but recklessly fire a gun no matter what's going on with all these kids that were around here.
And police say there is surveillance video at the recreation center, but they won't be able to look at that video until tomorrow. And again, they say this is a drug deal gone wrong, but the circumstances around it all still aren't clear. On the scene, on the story, reporting live in Tulsa, Katira Winfrey, News on 6.
Remember to keep up with breaking news on our free News on 6 app. You can also text 6Connect to 79640 to have breaking news and weather alerts sent right to your phone.
Hundreds of people packed a public ODOT meeting in Claremore tonight. The state is proposing a new realignment of Highway 20 that would go through South Claremore and Rogers County and would require tearing down some houses. News on 6 reporter Annie Chang is on that story tonight.
This meeting was packed with people wondering if they'll have to move. ODOT says they don't have the answer right now, but they do know this is all about safety. Ron Underwood moved to this neighborhood 7 years ago, and he's enjoyed every minute.
It's quiet, you know, pretty homes and pretty drive to and from. So a lot of different things. It's quiet where the grandkids can run and play and you don't have to worry about them.
But his subdivision, Riverwood Crossing, sits exactly where the new Highway 20 is proposed to go through.
What kind of easement do they normally have on a 5-lane?
Not a free sign here.
Ron and about 200 others showed up to a public input meeting to ask questions. Some of them got heated.
Why would you take this blue line within 30 yards of Roseland and right through the 2 new additions that are on up the road? It just doesn't make sense.
ODOT is proposing a $42 million project, basically a new Highway 20 between Franklin and Route 66. The project has been in the works for nearly 2 decades, but now it's in ODOT's short-term plan. City Manager Jim Thomas says this project is necessary to keep traffic moving safely between Claremore and Owasso.
Our goal in support of ODOT is to ensure that our residents can travel back and forth to Owasso and residents from Owasso can travel back and forth to Claremore.
ODOT says it's still too soon to say how many homes will have to be torn down. That's why they want to hear from the public.
We're here today just to tell everyone, hey, this is what we're thinking. Tell us what's in the corridor. Tell us what we need to design around, kind of the best design for traffic, and we'll be moving forward with that.
Now, you can still submit comments online to ODOT. Just head to our website, newson6.com. Reporting on the scene, on the story in Claremore, I'm Annie Chang, News on 6.
A traffic alert that could impact your drive downtown tomorrow. Crews will close some lanes of Highway 75 near Archer Street north of downtown for bridge inspections beginning at 9 o'clock in the morning. Those lanes will reopen at 3 p.m. but will close again on Monday. Drivers can also expect closures tomorrow on the east and westbound ramps to Highway 75 on I-244 near the interdispersal loop.
Crews are still out tonight checking for hot spots after this afternoon's grass fire between Coweta and Broken Arrow. Firefighters believe the fire started with a discarded cigarette. The fire burned an area roughly 1 mile long and 3/4 of a mile wide. In all, 7 fire departments and 2 National Guard Black Hawk helicopters with water drops got that fire under control. We also flew over the scene of this fire in Newalla, that's over in Oklahoma County. This fire burning through some thick grass and trees, but no structures were damaged over there. And firefighters were able to stop this wildfire that got very close to 2 homes in Sperry in North Tulsa County. The flames jumped 126th Street North, but again, no structures were destroyed up there.
And unfortunately, that fire danger is not over yet, is it, Trav?
It is not. And going on down at McAllister has been kind of a rough go this afternoon and this evening, just northeast town. Take a look at what's going on at this time, and you can see some of the fires that we've had. Most of the fires down have been just to the north and east of McAllister. We're talking about, again, J.D. McManus has been down there all evening long. In fact, some homes were within 50 feet of having fire. The good news is the majority of the homes are in great shape. Just a few outbuildings might have gone by the wayside, so that's something that we're talking about. Also, let's take a quick look at what's going on now. This is a live shot from JD. Doesn't look a whole lot different, but these are the fires that have continued across the areas. These are just to the north and to the east of McAllister at this time. So again, the firemen are still working those fires down to the south. That happens to be right here. Here is McAllister, so it's just to the north and to the east. We also have at this time showers showing up across much of northeastern Oklahoma to the east of Tulsa at this time, and most of those showers are just in a small band that run across portions of Mays County. This is a cold front coming in. This cold front's dropping temperatures 30 degrees behind it. Guess what? That's headed our way. We're going to talk about all the conditions and the record high we just went through today. Coming up in the weather, just a little bit.
Thank you, Travis. An Osage County man shot and killed his wife today and was in turn shot and killed by an Osage County deputy. According to the sheriff, Kenny Robertson walked into his wife's flower shop in downtown Fairfax this morning and shot and killed her. He then walked around the corner to City Hall, barricaded himself inside, and got into a shootout with Osage County deputies.
He was inside City Hall and fired 2 shots at officers, my understanding, from City Hall, and then came out approaching the officers, and when he raised the gun was shot 1 time.
Court records show Teresa Robertson had recently filed for a protective order and for a divorce. A fresh look at last year's school testing shows Tulsa area students are improving on reading, but are especially behind on middle school math. Those are among the highlights of a new report from Impact Tulsa, a group that analyzes data for 15 local school districts. Those districts are graduating 83% of their students, but most are not ready for college, and many never enroll anyway, in part because they're not seeking out financial aid.
We can't just pay attention to the number of kids who walk across the stage. It's at what level are they ready for the next part of their lives.
That full Impact Tulsa report's online now at newson6.com.
President Trump has put an end to federal regulations protecting transgender students. News on 6 reporter Taylor Newcomb is on the story as Tulsa public school leaders speak out in support of all of their students. Taylor?
Terry, Tulsa public school leaders say that just because national policies are changing does not mean that theirs are going to. Superintendent Deborah Gist released a statement on her Facebook page today. It says in part that they honor the dignity and equality of their transgender and gender nonconforming students.
For us, it's really about ensuring that we provide a safe and inclusive environment for all of our students.
TPS adopted a transgender policy in 2015, even before the Obama administration passed federal guidelines on the issue. They don't plan on changing those now.
While national policies may be changing, we are committed to and have an unwavering support for ensuring that our students have a safe and inclusive environment.
Transgender woman Eleanor McCormick says she wishes policies like these would have been around when she was a transitioning student.
It would have lessened the stress of just going to the restroom, because every day, you know, you sit through an entire class wondering which bathroom am I going to use? Am I going to get in trouble? Is someone going to shout at me? It makes no sense to me, especially watching him walk back on his word when he said he wouldn't do this. But I can't say I'm surprised either.
Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos said today that these matters should be handled at a personal and local level, a notion that a Tulsa transgender rights lawyer adamantly disagrees with.
And that's a nationwide issue. It's not going to vary depending upon your zip code. And so when is discrimination a states' right issue?
Gist's statement also talked about immigration, saying that all students, regardless of their immigration status, do have the right to pursue an education if they want to. Reporting on the scene on the story, Taylor Newcomb, News on 6.
Downtown Tulsa is getting some more apartments. The Flats on Archer is an $11 million mixed-use project that will bring 62 apartments with it. The first floor of the building at 110 North Boston will have retail space. This is the first Tulsa project for the developers, and construction gets underway soon.
Well, today we crushed that old daytime high record on the Osage Casino Skycam network, but the winter warmth won't last too long. Coming up in 6 minutes, Travis tells us when we'll get back down below freezing.
A small town comes together to remember and honor one of their own.
And next at 10, why going to the circus this weekend could help a Green Country family. We have more information now on the breaking news from Wagner County, where an explosion at a natural gas well has injured 4 people.
News on 6 reporter Annie Chang's live on the scene tonight. Annie?
Scott and Terry, we just arrived here on the scene a few minutes ago. We're on South 220 Road. This is east of Coweta, about a mile north of Highway 51. Want to go ahead and show you what it is crews are working on right now. You can see those flames. The county's emergency manager tells us these were contractors hired to work on a private gas line. While they were working this afternoon, that line exploded. All 4 workers went to the hospital with burn injuries. 2 of them ended up being flown to Hillcrest because they were so critical. 3 of them are now in critical condition tonight. The 4th victim suffers burns from his elbows all the way to his fingertips. Now, we're told this is a natural gas well, and authorities tell us it should keep burning for the next few hours. We'll have updates for you online at newson6.com. We'll stay here and try to get a little bit more information for you. Reporting live on the scene on the story in Wagner County, I'm Annie Chang, News on 6.
The flags out front of fire stations across the state are flying at half-staff tonight in honor of fallen firefighter Michael Russell. News on 6 reporter Sawyer Bussey is on the scene in Delaware County as the small town's fire department remembers one of its own.
Leach Fire Chief Tom Pierce says that Michael Russell was the youngest 68-year-old he's ever known.
Mike was a cowboy's cowboy. I was always impressed with it. It was always yes ma'am, no ma'am.
That cowboy answered the call for help Wednesday morning when fellow firefighters needed him to bring a tanker to a house fire.
He responded, said, "On my way."
But Russell never made it to the scene.
It was very foggy that morning on the way to the call. At one point had to go very slow and look out the window just to see the edge of the road.
Pierce says one of the tires on the 2,000-gallon tanker Russell was driving slid off the road.
You're hauling so much weight. I don't know, it can get away from you at times.
Russell tried to overcorrect and the tanker rolled. He was killed instantly.
We've worked multiple fatality accidents and items like that, but it's always different when it's one of your own guys.
Pierce has been a firefighter for 13 years, and 9 of them were alongside Russell.
Mike was just a hard worker in everything he did. He's our family. He was our brother. It's been difficult.
The fire department tells me they're helping pay for Russell's funeral, but they do need help. They've set up a funeral expense fund at Arvis Bank. Sawyer Bussey, News on 6.
Happening now in Tulsa, the 72nd annual Akdar Shrine Circus is at the Tulsa Fairgrounds. The circus is full of thrills like the flying trapeze artists, performing elephants, and even death-defying feats like an aerial ballet and the Wheel of Destiny. But best of all, it's all for a good cause. Proceeds from the circus benefit Akdar Shrine, which founds the Shriner Children's Hospitals around the country, including the Burn Center in Galveston, which took in 2 boys from Shoto who were burned in a house fire over the weekend. For circus show times and ticket prices, just go to newson6.com and look under the links mentioned section.
Now, the Oklahoma weather expert, Travis Meyer.
All right, huge amounts of weather to talk about. Record highs fell today. Downtown Tulsa, 86. Look at these numbers. Sand Springs to Sapulpa. Wow, was it ever warm? Most of the area very warm. And you see the southwest side a little bit warmer than the northeast side. But we broke records all the way to Fayetteville, Arkansas, though. So again, that's a pretty big deal. In fact, taking a look at what happened today, 80 in Fayetteville, 88 Fort Smith, 89 in McAllister, and we had 86, as we said, here in Tulsa, and up to North Bartlesville. You guys came in at 85. So still the same. I mean, it's amazing what we've seen. All right, so with that in mind, also is the fact that now we lead for the warmest February ever, 51.5 degrees. So we just went from second place to first place. This is all the latest data just put together by Dick Furrow. And second place in 1954, and then you have to go back to 1930. Will we still end up there? Well, we'll find out. In the meantime, we're going to find out a little bit more about the fires going on down northeast side of McAllister. Still a lot of fire lines going on with this activity. JD said that it's not controlled yet, and there's a lot of gas wells in these areas, but fortunately nothing has gone there. But he mentioned, if you missed the top of the newscast, home was within 50 feet of having flames to it, and so a lot of fire folks are trying to build lines to make sure that that does not happen. So this area is just northeast of McAllister, and this is the area that if you're down in this area from Bug Tussle Road to Krebs Road, Krebs Lake Road, and just right in between on East 1390, and that's where JD has spent his evening. Thanks, JD. Appreciate it very much. Now, as far as what's happening, cold front is moving across the area, and Stephen, if you would, could you bring me back to Viper for a second? This cold front, once it moves through, showers and storms are moving across some of these areas, and so we're getting some rain at this hour showing up into some of these locations, and you can see some of the areas showing up right now from around Salina, Locust Grove. This is rapidly moving northeast, and this has been moving into the Tulsa area, but it's been mainly sprinkles that we've seen. There was some Sand Springs, a few sprinkles. Hard to see in the ground clutter pattern, but this has been a fairly active type of evening. Now it's going to get more active, but it's going to get colder, believe it or not. We're talking about across much of the areas of South Central. In fact, as we look at this area up to the north, blizzard conditions going on here. Very cold air. Denver's in the teens right now. They were in the 70s yesterday. Now we're not going to be that bad, but it's going to be cold compared to where we have been. And that cold front knocking on our door. It's knocking temperatures down 30 degrees within 3 hours of its passing. So this is the way that front looks in the morning. 30s to the west, 40s here. During the day, it's cold or chilly all day long. We're in the 50s all afternoon. Gusty northwest winds. Fire danger is elevated, so we have to be advised. So enjoy what we have right now, because it's not going to last too much longer. 76 degrees, south breeze 23. Humidity is pretty high. A few sprinkles are possible here for the next hour or so. And again, the whole metro still fantastic, and it won't last too much longer, and then it's time for the coat. So with that in mind, as this system moves to the east, we'll be in for a couple of days cool weather. We'll actually freeze. We'll get temperatures dropping down in the 20s by Saturday morning. So by morning, grab a coat. You're going to have to find one, I guess, after some fantastic weather. 49, very blustery, mainly because the winds are going to be strong. If the winds weren't so strong, it wouldn't be quite so bad. 56, and a very cool afternoon compared to 86. And as you see, a good chance of rain still looks to be coming in Sunday night into Monday. And another chance of some showers showing up on Tuesday, and that is for Mardi Gras. And that is followed by, again, still nothing horrible. Just prepare for chilly weather for the next couple of days now.
All right. Thank you, Trav.
Thanks, Travis. Time for tonight's great grocery giveaway and a chance to win a $500 Reese's gift card. Text the word floral to 79640. You'll have another chance to enter and win tomorrow night. We'll be right back.